In this tutorial, we will learn how to train two different machine learning agents at the same time. Alrighty, everyone. So first thing we're going to start off with is accessing this environment, and we're going to create a copy of the agent. Actually, we'll go and make a copy down here, and we'll change it to Hunter. In here, do we want to change anything in this specific area? We can shrink you down, change this to Hunter Controller. Leave that as heuristic. Pellet count, we'll change all this when we get to it. Actually, we can remove this right now. And it's not going to let us until we remove the decision requester, so we'll just need to remember to add that back later. Remove this component. We'll go and we'll add the Hunter in right here. And let's go and make a few materials, just so that way we can tell the difference between them. So create material, we'll call it Hunter color. And let's go ahead and make him like an orange color, like brown orange. Go back into our prefabs, Hunter. Actually, yeah, we can just drag the color on. We don't need to go through the prefab. So go back into materials. This is throwing me off. I keep thinking it's going to be here, and I'm like, oh no, it must be under. It's not. So Hunter color, we'll go ahead and we'll throw this onto the Hunter, make him orange. We can go and change the direction for here. We'll just move him right there. And let's go ahead and adjust the raycasts for them, because we're going to have them see differently. So right now, this is the prey, or the normal agent. We're going to go ahead and we're going to expand it out, kind of like it's a prey animal in real life. You know, they can see a wide array because their eyes will be on the side of their head, and we don't necessarily have to go and change it to where the eyes are, we're not seeing from the eyes, but we could, if we wanted to, do something like this. We can rotate this one about oops, sorry about that. I paused when I use my I have my pause key as the number key for minus, so I'll just need to keep that in mind. But we can do that, and then I select the right eye again, move it like this, just make it a little different. Then left eye will rotate this way, which will make this a positive 90. Just check it. I didn't change anything. Do this, move it over to here. There we go. Now he's a little different. His eyes are on the side. Matches kind of like how the ray works. We don't see directly behind, but we can see fairly well around. And then over at our Hunter. Actually, yeah, we don't have a raycast. Oh, because, yeah, I see. Let me do that, because I didn't copy and paste from here. I copied and pasted the bottom one. Maybe we don't have a ray on there. Now let's do this. Check this guy. Where is your... Oh, is the ray... Yeah, the ray's in the wrong spot. You know what? Let's just... I'm going to delete. We're just going to copy and paste this. Do it this way. Make it much cleaner. So do that. Move the eyes back, which... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. We got to look at Hunter. Move these eyes. Put this down to 0. There we go. And then the other eye. We can spin it around. I don't even know why I do this to remind myself. I can which one I need to adjust or which way. We already know it's going to be 0. There we go. We do want to add some kind of like pinchers or something to it, just so that way the Hunter can catch it, because right now our collider, oh, that's for the eye. And now our collider is not is trigger, and we need an is trigger in order to collide, unless, we do some other methods, but I'd rather just keep it with is trigger for right now. So let's go ahead and adjust this guy. We're going to create a new empty. We're going to just call it horn. We'll just give him a horn in order to attack. So we'll go into create object, create a cube. We'll shrink it down, make it nice and small. We don't need anything large. just big enough in order to use. Rotate this down. Kind of be like a weird, oops, that's not the direction I wanted to rotate. Like a weird unicorn horn. That will make it a bit longer, just so that way it doesn't have to get, well, no, actually it's fine, because, you know, it can just butt faces. So yeah, there we go. We won't color it or anything, because this ground won't stay, and it's just a quick demonstration. You make something cool if you want, like some actual like claws or something like that, you know, maybe horn, like actual like horn hands or something like, you know, neat. In my original one that I did, not in this video, but just when I first made this on my own, I had like little pincher claws on each side. But in my test for setting this up, this worked just as well. Let's go to the horn, cube, and we're going to make this is trigger. And so now I believe we have that all set up. So we can go over to our scripts, and we can create a new script. I'm going to call it Hunter Controller. And go ahead and open this. Alright, with this new script, we're going to copy and paste stuff over. So here, we can take these sensors, if it'll let me highlight. Move these sensors over. And then we can get rid of this start and update. A lot of this stuff is going to be the same. In fact, we're going to do a little bit of code cleanup. Essentially, we're going to be separating a lot of the agent, the hunter from the agent, which really, we have all the food here, which we should have separate, but we don't. We really should. But that's okay. For right now, we're going to grab our agent variables, but they're going to be for the hunter variables instead. We'll call them hunter variables. We're going to have our movement speed, and we're going to have our rigid body. And we're going to grab the environment stuff. We're actually only going to need these two. Oops, go back right here. And then we're going to create a couple that will allow us to reference the agent. We're going to have a public, there we go, game object, prey, and we're going to have a public agent controller. And I'm just going to call it class object, because I know we can come up with a better name if we want, but it just reminds me that, you know, it's an object of the agent controller class. And those will be the only variables that we're going to need for here in the hunter script. The initialize function is going to be the same, and on episode begin is going to be a little different. We're going to copy them both over just so we don't have to rewrite stuff. This one, leave it as it is. And oh, we need to change this to agent, so that way it knows what all of these functions are. We don't need the timer, and we don't need the pellet. We will be doing a lot with the agent itself, though. I don't think we need to set the vector to 0, so we can skip over that. And we'll just set to setting the spawn point for the hunter. We'll get rid of that in a second, but for right now we could probably just copy and paste it. So vector 3, we're going to call it spawn location. We're going to set it equal to a new vector 3 in this random area. Now we can get rid of this. And then we're going to set the transform. Actually, we're not going to even need that. These are all, I have like old leftover stuff from what I used to have happen if I hop over to here. The hunter, oh, in fact, we'll need to change the color for him again. So materials, hunter color. There we go. Now we can see it. I used to have him when you'd go off the side, he would just fall, and so then the entire thing would continue, and you could get the reward, but I changed that, so that's why I have these little bits of code that I keep mentioning that are just remnants that I no longer need. We will be using this bool again, bool distance good, and it's going to be equal to class object dot check overlap. So we're actually going to be using the function from inside of our agent class here in the hunter class. And so we'll pass the spawn location. And we're going to pass this dot game object dot transform dot position. And we're going to have a distance of 5f. And why is it mad about this? Oh, yeah, we got to change it because we have it set as private, but we don't need it to be private anymore. We're not going to need to change this, so I'll minimize these. This one, we're going to change it to public, just so that way we have access to it. Otherwise, we'd just have to make this again or create an accessor, which I don't think we really need to do right now. We're not going to be creating a bunch of different agents and stuff. If you guys have a huge expanse of them, then maybe it could be beneficial to do that. We're just going to do it this way. And then we're going to check while the distance is not good. So if we're overlapping, because we don't want to just start and have our predator or the hunter on top of the prey already. We want them to be a little bit separate, so that way they have to try to find, well, the hunter has to try to find the prey and the prey avoid the hunter. And so we're gonna set the spawn location to a new vector 3 if it's not good. And we're gonna check again to see if this new location is good. And if it is, it'll kick us out of this while loop, and if it's not, it'll keep going. This shouldn't be an issue given that we're just gonna have one of each, and we're not caring about overlapping with pellets or anything. So we shouldn't run into any issues with infinite loops. If you have a small enough area or enough hunters and agents spawning in, then perhaps that could be an issue, in which case you'll want to have a case where, like a counter, like we did before, to keep it from infinitely looping. But once we have that set, we're going to do transform dot local position. Oops, I'm forgetting the dot. And we're going to just set it equal to spawn location. And then from there, most of the rest is going to be the same. We don't need to alter this. We don't need to alter that. Our collect observations, on action received, and heuristics are all going to be the same. So we can just copy and paste this over because it's going to be the same controls for it. We want it to move, forward and be able to turn and take the same key inputs. So we can just copy and paste those. And then we're going to be doing on trigger enter. So we can just go ahead and copy this. It's going to be different, but we might as well copy it right now just to use. And so in here, we're going to be looking for agent. We can remove the list. We can remove destroying. We'll add a reward. We can get rid of the list. The hunter doesn't care about the list. We'll set the color to yellow. Remove this. We don't need a bonus reward. We can indent this properly. And then we're actually going to call a class object again. So the agent. And we're going to call end episode. So we'll end the agent's episode and we'll end the hunter's episode. But that's not the only thing we want to do with class object. We also want to give it a negative reward or a punishment for getting caught. So minus 13F. And that will be the punishment for getting caught. So now it'll have an incentive in order to avoid getting caught. And if, running into the wall, why is it? Oh, that's why. We got that left over. We can remove this. We don't need that. And if we run into the wall, we'll just change the color to red. I don't think we really need to change that at all. And we'll end the episode for the class object. And so that's it for the hunter script. We'll need to change stuff in Unity. But for right now, let's hop over to the agent controller. And we're going to need to change some things in on trigger enter and in check remaining time. So in check remaining time, we're getting the color. We're changing it to blue. That's fine. We're going to do class object, which I just realized we haven't told it what that is yet. So we will need to actually add that variable. But we'll do minus 15F as well, because we don't want either of them to run out of time. We can still remove the pellets, and we'll call class object dot end episode. Because we'll end both episodes. Now let's go up and create ourselves our class object. So enemy. Enemy agent, public hunter controller, class object. So now I don't know what we're talking about with the class object. Now we can just change the onTrigger enter. And so we don't, if we're running into the pellet here, this is fine. We don't actually need to consider running into the hunter here because the hunter takes care of that. It already ends the episode, deals out rewards and punishments. And so we actually just need to, when we get everything, we can actually just copy and paste from here. We can end the hunter's episode and end our own episode. But we'll also give the hunter a punishment for not finishing. And we'll do a -5. For allowing them to finish, the hunter's going to get punished. And then if he runs into a wall, we'll end the hunter's turn as well, or the episode. And I believe that should be everything for the agent and for the hunter. So if we go back into Unity, let it load up, make sure, did I save everything? Yeah, I saved both, so it should be loaded. So we're in the environment. We can go over to agent. Scroll down here, we have a hunter class object. So drag that. Why isn't it allowing me to drag it in there? That's interesting. Hunter controller, am I missing something? Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. We everything we did earlier when we copied and pasted, it's gone now. So we'll remove this agent controller script. We'll remove that, and these stick around just because we have our prefab, our hunter. Actually, our hunter's not showing it either. Interesting. Well, that's fine. We should go back to the environment. I'm not sure why it was going away. I had that issue earlier, and just adding it in worked. So we'll go to scripts. We'll add our hunter script. Of all these, add a decision requester. And now we should be able to add this, right? Yep, there we go. We'll change this to 45 seconds. Because if we go too fast, obviously it's just going to run out of time. Go back here. For this object, we're going to pass in the agent. For the prey, did I? Yeah. Actually, for the prey and for the class object, why do I have both now that I think about it? Am I calling for both? Actually, don't think I'm calling for both. Let me just double check on that. My bad, guys. That's what I messed up on. I have spawn location here, and in this, for the game object, this is, our location. So let's copy this over. This actually goes here. And then in here, we have prey.transform.local position. Because we want to compare the prey's location to our spawn location. So that should fix it. So yeah, we just want to pass in both. For here, the agent and the controller. And the environment will be the plane. Movement speed, we're going to leave them the same for right now. Next step, decision requester, and I believe that should be almost everything. Let's change this to hunter. And make sure that stayed. Timer, we'll just change you to none. And change you to none. And I believe that should be everything for it. Let me see. Creating the variables, adding the pinchers. Yeah, so now we're just going to be doing some training. So let me go ahead and open this up. Show and Explorer. Bring this over. We can open our command prompt. And we're going to go into our virtual environment. /scripts/activate. And we're going to leave it here. We don't need to do anything here yet. What we will be doing is in here, we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it config. Because we have two agents now, so we're not going to be able to use the default training methods. And we'll create a new quote-unquote text document. We're going to call it multi-training. I'm spelling training wrong. And we're going to change it from .text to a .yaml. And we'll say, yes, we're fine with doing that. Open this up and you'll see I have already a copy here from my testing. Essentially, this is what it's going to look like. I will just be copying and pasting this over. It's basically this top portion up to like right here is the default. Besides for the max steps for training, I think I changed the unit size. I might have changed the batch size as well. But you can find these here if you search for MLAgents config file download, and I'll have links in the description for these. There's this site here. It explains, PPO. It explains all the different things that we're passing through. So checkpoint interval, there's buffer size. It explains networks size, PPO specific stuff, which is mainly what we're doing is PPO. And then here they have in their examples folder under MLAgents config PPO. They have all the different ones. So if you wanted to grab one that's similar to what we're doing, there's food collector. And open that up. You just copy and paste this. You just got to change the name to whatever you have for your agent name. So if we go to Hunter, we have the Hunter controller, which actually that just reminded me, we need to add tags. We need to add an agent tag. And we need to add a Hunter tag. So we want to be able to see agent and Hunter. Because they need to be able to see each other in order to, hunt and run away. And then if I go into my RayCast, add this, we need to add agent, because we want the hunter to be able to see the agent. And then here we can add in, oops, I didn't want to do that. We need to see pellet, and we want to see hunter. Now I am going to change this and get rid of pellet. Initially when I made this, I got rid of pellet because I was like, oh yeah, we don't need to see it. When I was doing my testing, when setting this up, I realized if you leave pellet, because I left it in by accident, the hunter will actually start puppy guarding. He'll find a pellet, and he can't, gather it. There's no code for that. That doesn't happen. He doesn't get any reward for it. He'll sit there at it and wait for the agent to come over, and it'll attack the agent and get him. Like it's setting a trap. And it's really interesting to see. I recommend if you're following along to try that out, just to see how the training differs with what they can and can't see. Let's go back into, which one do I want? This one. Training file. Oh, actually, yeah, we want this. So I'm just going to copy and paste this all over, and you'll have the resources down below in order to, make your own. Basically, you're going to start off with this. Just copy and paste. This section would be the bottom of your file. Paste it below and just change the name to Hunter Controller and to Agent Controller, and it'll allow you to train both. I will zoom out so you guys can see the whole thing. I'll leave it here for a moment so you can pause and you can, write it down how you want it. I recommend experimenting with you can experiment with the buffer size, the hidden unit, the summary frequency is just how often it prints out, tell you about stuff. Time horizon, I don't remember what all of these do specifically. I've read about them before, but I do recommend this is how well it can kind of learn, like how many. If you think about like the human brain, how many neurons there are for learning, but it'll also it becomes more resource intensive the more there are, the longer the training will take. Basically, the more advanced something you do, you want more hidden units. Like if we use an actual camera for this, like the camera that we're seeing through, significantly higher, like probably 10 times at least higher on the neural network. But I think we're good to start training now. Let me just make sure I save this, and it's called multi-training. We'll head over into here. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and unhide all of these. All right, it's set up. Now let's double check, actually, just make sure everything's filled out with these guys. It'll spit out an error for us anyways if they're not. And yeah, let's go and we'll train. So we'll do MLAgents -learn config / and what did I name this one? Multi-training. So multi-training.yaml --run -id multi-agents run 1. So we'll run this. Should be good. Training with the CPU. We'll hit play. Oh, we're in maximize. So hold on, let me pause this real quick. Play focused. And then we'll run it again. Oh, actually, it's ready for us to go. So we'll just do that. Wait for it to start. And then you can always, if you want, you can pause in between trainings, change the speeds in order to make them run better. Are we running into an error here? I think it just froze. Let me just end it. Nope. There we go. Let's do a new one. I think we messed with it when doing that. There we go. And now I'll just let it run. All right, I'm going to end the training there. I think that's good. So now let's go and see what the results were when we run them. So multi-unit, multi-pellet, multi-agent. There we go. We'll call this, or actually, is it? Yeah, it's the Onyx that we want. So multi-agent. And we'll call this multi-hunter. Even though, there's only one of each. But we'll take both. And we'll name them like that, just for easy identification. Assets. Paste those two. Go over here. Let's hide all of these environments. So this one, agent, we'll set you equal to multi-agent. And set you equal to multi-hunter. And I did alter the speed a bit for them, so we'll put that back to 5. If you leave it long enough, eventually it gets so good that it never gets caught. So that's why I ended it. You have to find a balance, or add in some extra code to keep them on their toes. You see, he goes straight after him. The agent's really good at this. The hunter's really good at it. The agent's still learning how to use its speed. Yeah, I'll let this run for a little bit just so you can see the outcome, and then that'll lead to the end. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I think this might be the end of the pellet grabber. You guys can let me know if you want to see more on it. I'm thinking of just moving to trying something else. Maybe, something with limbs and stuff like that. I'm not too sure. I guess by the time this comes out, I'll have already figured it out. But, I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. If you want to see more on this, or just to see more of what these little guys can do, if I just make little videos with obstacle courses and stuff. Yeah. Hope you all enjoyed and you found this informative. And I'll see you all in the next series.